down by 7. Now, in this third quarter, a bunch of Donovan Mitchell here knocking down the 3 and make it a 4-point game. A few possessions later, it's a 7-point margin. Jarrett Allen going to give a handoff here to Donovan Mitchell. He'll knock it down again. Mitchell had 11 in the third, 31 in the game. Cleveland within 4. Fourth quarter, we're tied at 79. So here's where it gets real. Evan Mobley inside for the jam.
Yeah, Evan, it was a great pick and roll, little slip right there by Evan Mobley for a huge dunk at the rim.
Pistons, next possession, it's their man. It's Cade Cunningham, Vince.
12 in the fourth, 12 in the last 6 minutes. We're going to talk so much about who's struggling. This guy's stepping into his superstar status in the league.
Then it's Harris when they need him. He was so big in that game 7. He had big buckets last night. Pistons open up a 7-point lead. 2 minutes to go. Pistons are up by 6.
Snatch back.
Look at him again. 25 and 10 for Cade Cunningham, pulling that one on a string. 40 seconds left. Cavs down by 6. Desperation time. James Harden, this was a theme last night. James Harden really struggling. It's a turnover. He had more of those last night, 4, than he did made field goals, only 3. It was his 30th career playoff game with more turnovers than made field goals. And Detroit goes on to win it by 10. A continuation of Harden's struggles from game 1. So far in this series, James Harden has shot 32% from the floor. He has more turnovers than made shots. In the fourth quarter last night, he had a -9 rating, 1 shot attempt, and that was a miss. So James Harden was brought to Cleveland to be the piece that put them over the top. How's that working out right now?
Not too great. Guys, you know what I hate more than anything, and it happens, I hate casuals, right? I hate casuals that are online, that come in online and say their opinion but don't really watch the game or don't really study the game or know any of the strategy or scouting report. And then I don't understand casual energy when you're down 1-0 in the second round of the playoffs. And a lot of times when I watch James, and Vince, we talked about earlier, maybe this is just who he is, but there's a lot of casual energy when he plays. I mean, 10 assists, 11 turnovers. How about in his 9 playoff games? 47 turnovers, only 52 made field goals.
Yeah.
Okay, so just the casual one-handed passes, I'm going to try to split, but I'm not going to get really down and bend my legs and get deep. That energy is something that would bother me. Donovan Mitchell could be better. But you need James Harden to be an addition and to at least do his thing, passing the ball, making people better. He's not bringing that type of playoff energy.
I mean, we're talked about LeBron James, 41 years old. We're talking about James Harden, 36. When you're going deeper into the season, you're tired. These Detroit legs are young legs. They're attacking him. And I think also Evan Mobley, 1 rebound. That is a generational talented big. You cannot have a game where you have just 1 rebound. Cleveland's problems extend with James Harden, but also beyond James Harden. And their number 1 problem is the Detroit Pistons, because they are intent on kicking their ass.
And so far, they're doing a good job of it, up 2 games to none. Tim, how about it, though, on Harden? He's obviously he's the legendary player in this. He's had an enormous career, but unfortunately, a huge part of his storyline has been playoff struggles, and this year seems to be as bad as it's been. What are the right things to say this morning?
He is an all-time great regular season player. He has never been an all-time great playoff performer. I mean, you said the stat, 30 games now with more turnovers than buckets. That is a shocking number, but it makes sense if you've watched James Harden's career. His playoff history is littered with just ugly flameouts, disappointing performances, and now this is a 36-year-old version of James Harden playing against a young, tough, athletic Detroit Pistons team. Trading for James Harden to push you over the top in the playoffs was always a questionable move.
I'm so mad at myself because when they made this trade, I remember the conversation that I was hearing was, this is all of a sudden the Cavs are, and I wanted to say at the time, and I wish I had because I'd be on record.
Ain't you seen his movies?
And now I can't prove it. And I wanted to say at the time, wait a minute, when was it that getting James Harden put you over the top of anything? That's literally been the opposite of what his entire career has been so far.
But in addition to that, when does getting James Harden make you a tougher team?
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're all seeing here. Like, this series is going to question the toughness toughness of the Cleveland Cavs. And by the way, the Pistons are just punking them. They're punking them like soft tissue paper.
I say so many dumb things. Why couldn't I have said the one smart one? That frustrates me. All right, let's get Fortenbaugh back into this. It's 2-0 Pistons. What are you looking at? What's the smart money in Game 3?
So this isn't going to make a lot of sense given everything everyone's just said, but I would look to Cleveland minus the 4.5. Game open 2.5. Immediately got bet up for a few good reasons. Number one, teams down 0-2, coming home in a desperation spot for Game 3. They tend to pop. You got the crowd noise and you got the rise of the role players. So I'd look to bet them in the first half as well. On top of this, Detroit's 44% from deep so far this series. You know they can go cold. We saw it in the Orlando series. One of those games is coming. I would bet Cleveland here.
We had this conversation this morning over breakfast. The psychology, when we've seen something, everyone goes and races to bet. For tonight, Philly 1-3 in these playoffs without him. The Knicks dealing with their own injury concern. OG Anunoby questionable with a hamstring that he suffered late in Game 2. He's been arguably their best player in these playoffs, averaging 21 points on 62% shooting. In a must-win in Philly, DraftKings Sportsbook has the Sixers a slight favorite tonight, -1.5. Sixers have actually lost their last 6 home games against the Knicks. That dates back to their playoff series of a couple of years ago. We'll get Fortenbaugh's thoughts on that in just a minute, but let me start with you as I go Goodwill hunting. Which injury do you think bodes larger in tonight's game? Embiid for the Sixers or Anunoby for the Knicks?
I'm going to say OG Anunoby because I think he is that critical as far as a glue to what the New York Knicks do. Offensively, when you look at the way that they've been playing on the past 4 games, Karl Towns as a hub, who's been a beneficiary of that? OG Anunoby on cuts. That's why you've been seeing him shoot so well. He defends, he's tough, he shoots, he makes it all work. I don't know what Joel Embiid is going to look like if he comes back tonight. They could very well win without him tonight. I don't know if the Knicks can win the Eastern Conference. Matter of fact, they're not going to win the Eastern Conference without OG Anunoby.
Well, which brings us, before we get to the thoughts about Embiid, let me go back to Anunoby. Because, Tim, you and I are very much of one mind as far as the status of OG Anunoby and the way this injury is being described and what we're looking at here in the next 36 hours.
I mean, the guy strained his hamstring a couple nights ago and he's questionable. I don't know who they're trying to fool. There's no way OG Anunoby can play tonight. I mean, it's ludicrous. We saw Aaron Gordon play last year on a strained hammy. It was a game 7. He didn't play well. We saw Anunoby a couple years ago come back after missing 4 games and try to go on a strained hamstring. He dragged his leg around for 5 minutes, got absolutely torched. He can't play. The hope is he can be back maybe at some point later this series, maybe next series, because I do agree with Vince. They need OG Anunoby, and they need him at his best to get to the finals. If you play him tonight, you're risking losing him for the rest of the postseason.
I mean, I'll make it as direct as I can. I'm watching this game tonight on my couch, and OG Anunoby should be sitting right next to me. OG, you're welcome. I will cater. I'll bring anything you want to eat, to drink, whatever it is. He should not be in Philadelphia. He shouldn't be allowed within the city limits. The Knicks have a 2-0 lead. That's why you build a 2-0 lead, so you don't have to send your arguably your best player out there with an injury that everyone re-aggravates. I mean, a hamstring injury might as well just have, in parentheses, re-aggravation next to it. It always happens. They have 2 games in 36 hours. Mm-hmm. The absolute worst case scenario is they come home 2-2 in a series in which they're the better team anyway. There's no way in the world that Anunoby should play, and I can't imagine will play in these 2 games. So that's the Knicks side of it.
Yep.
I'm fascinated by your thoughts on the Sixers side of it.
Styles make fights, right? We hear that all the time. What is the best style for the 76ers to have a chance to beat the New York Knicks? I do not think that style involves heavy doses of Joel Embiid. He is a liability on the floor defensively. Him coming back from injuries, you saw the way they attacked it with ball rotation and driving him and attacking him. And when you watch the way they played the other day, fast and speed with Barlow and with Bona, interchangeable parts. Paul George is fighting against Karl Anthony Towns. Those are the matchups that I think best suit the 76ers have a chance to beat the New York Knicks.
Okay. Let me get Fortenbaugh in here before we get to any betting. You know the Sixers better than anybody. You're a Philadelphia guy. I walked all around the Garden before Game 2, asking everyone I could, do you think the Sixers are better, have a better chance of winning tonight with Embiid? And I couldn't find one person to say yes. What do you think?
I wouldn't use the word better. I would use the word different, which is very obvious. But the style they play without him is, to Jay's point, more conducive to winning. The pace picks up dramatically.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And you saw what that could do against the Knicks in Game 2. With Embiid on the floor, defensively, they go into this drop coverage. They're not stopping anything.
So you're parsing words with me. You're telling me
He's
it's not
saying yes,
better, but
he
they have a
agrees.
better chance of winning? How are those different?
I'd say if he does not play tonight, as a Sixer fan, I'm not losing any sleep over that. I'm very excited about their chances of winning.
So here's the argument that comes back in my face. Tim McMahon, I'll give it to you. I was right. This side of the argument was right for 3.5 quarters. And then, because the Sixers are playing at a fast pace and because they don't have any depth at all, those guys who were out there running up and down the floor, it wound up working against them because Maxey and Edgecombe and George and all those guys are dead tired at the end of the game, and that's why they shot 1 for 10 or whatever it was in the fourth quarter from 3. So